how do you feel our culture
Mm-hmm.
speaks to uh, building up young folks who are resilient to the challenges and complexities that they face today?
I see. Oh, that's a good one. I mean, I think the one thing is like if you think about our culture and everything, like like I think for me, like Ada, I don't think Ada was here yet when I was saying like growing up, or maybe like when you're a Igorot kid telling other people like, oh yeah, at least we were not colonized, like all these things that, but at the same time we were not colonized by the Spaniards, we were able to be modernized through I think the missionaries in a way. Depending on who's looking at it, maybe the perspectives and the opinions may be still like considered as colonized or whatever, but at the same
Yeah.
time that brought in that education of for of everything, to, and so like for instance, like my grandma was my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side were the few that were actually educators. Most of the people that had like she didn't have tattoos on her arm because she went to school. The her peers that had the tattoos on their arm stayed in the fields and didn't go to school. And so even though I feel like this is one thing that I learned from my Irish coworker who, and you don't need a lot of white people that are like, that know their heritage either. And so like, in my opinion, so like my coworker is like 100% Irish and his parents have Irish accents. And so I was like, oh, do they speak, what is it called? Gaelic? And he's like, no, it's a dead language. What? I had no idea.
They're trying to bring it back,
no
right?
idea. And he's like, yeah, my dad can only count to 3. My mom can count to 7. I was like, what? And so like, it just boggled my mind that it was like, I was like, I just didn't, and so for our, like, just like right now with the way the country's facing so many other, social, all the outside of our world right now. It's not many generations where like life in the Philippines was extremely different, and I feel like going from my like great grandmother's generation to what my cousins, my generation, my fellow cousins, the lifestyle that they have in Bontoc, for instance, it's like extremely modernized. They have working internet, they have Wi-Fi, but they don't have, the same. They don't have the same first world things, but they have some. But at the same time, the culture, there is still some culture that is preserved. They may not, the language is still there, the food, the and luckily I know in my cousin, so I'm hoping that in a lot more of their peers, they're still preserving a lot of the that
Rituals.
in the like the rituals in the ato, in Bontoc, and so that and they always say like Filipinos in general can assimilate easily. They're very like, that's why we lose a lot of that culture. So I mean, I feel like even though assimilation, like, when you assimilate to things like, it's not the same thing as being resilient, but at the same time, like being able to like kind of roll with the punches and everything, like you can still like maintain a core and be and still live like, live the life that you're living wherever you're growing up, because of course you still, and because I'm sure like all our kids are going to be in a different world in 10-15 years, but they're going to still be able to like have that root and that their roots, knowing like where they came from. And I think, just like you said, like, I mean, we've said it earlier, like knowing that we have that, I think will, as long as we like instill that in them, like I think for us, we kind of like had to instill it in ourselves. I'm pretty sure our parents didn't have these conversations with us. It was just through observation of like, why people are proud to be Igorot, oh, did you know, and putting it all together. And so, we just have to be more conscious of that, and that, it's just in the nature of being Igorot kind of thing. Kind of, in my opinion.